Welcome to DDL. I'm Justin. This is T. We're going to get into it.
Welcome to Fan Favorite Fridays. So, quick announcement. We were just talking about this. We're not filming next week, so we will not have videos out for the following week.
Monday, Wednesday, or Friday.
Yep. I will be out of town, and we have decided when I'm not here, we're just not going to film. Except for we're going to have a long conversation because in October I'm going to be gone for like 2 Saturdays. So, nonetheless. So making this a trilogy on our conspiracy stuff, I have an interesting thought, an interesting way of joining two things that you may not think are joinable. A conspiracy theory and climate change. I'm sure there are some people out there that are like, "Oh no, climate change is a conspiracy." I'm sure there's someone out there that believes that. Let's pull up what AI has to say about this. Hey, hold on. I don't know if nope, we didn't. Hold on. Where am I going? Here it is. Bam. Getting a little late in the day. So, AI overview. According to Britannica, climate change is the periodic alteration of Earth's climate due to changes in the atmospheric and interactions with other factors. These factors include geological, chemical, biological, and geographic factors.
Okay.
You agree with that so far?
So far, yeah.
Okay. Some evidence of climate change includes a decline in extent of Arctic ice and rising global temperatures. Climate change can be caused by natural and human factors. Natural factors include changes in Earth's axis, moving continents, biological, chemical, and geological factors. Human factors include burning fossil fuels and changes in land cover and biodiversity. Since the Industrial Revolution, human activities have had more significant impact on climate change. 97% of scientists... Oh my God, they're referencing this. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Composing myself. 97%. I can't lie, dude.
Well, you have to read it.
Yeah, but it's a lie.
They wouldn't lie to us. It's on the internet. Everything on the internet is true.
97% of scientists who study climate agree that human activities are the primary cause of warming observed since the early 1900s. I'm a truthful person. I don't like lying. Okay, so we set what climate change is, and obviously you can probably have seen how we feel about part of the definition. Part of it's actually very accurate.
Yeah, that first half, I think they knocked it, that first paragraph.
Yeah, that first paragraph was like perfect. If they would have stopped there, 100% agree with you.
Yep.
That is what climate change is, guys. Climate's change.
Well, and it's funny because 97% of they agree that the warming observed since the early 1900s. Okay, great, that's great. Since the early 1900s. Okay, how long have we been observing temperatures?
Quite a while. Like 1400s, if not earlier.
Actual temperatures.
If I'm not mistaken.
Actual recording and data collecting and.
Data collect. Yeah.
How many years back do we have of actual scientific? Here's what the temperature was on this date.
I think the 1900s.
Early
1900s.
Late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah.
So, yes, we've been studying climate for centuries. However, what data do we actually have? Pretty much late 1800s, early 1900s. So, you're observing, in essence, how the Earth has behaved in the last 120-something, 150-something years, and you're trying to extrapolate that and say, this is throughout human history what the climate has been. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, we actually don't have data that supports your conclusion. We have things that you can lean toward, but do we actually have recorded temperatures? No, we don't.
Yeah. So it's interesting though because they drill the ice and stuff, and they do like temperature readings based on the ice, like how much ice was formed during this period and whatnot. One of the biggest things that I always find interesting is the simple fact that we're still coming out of our last ice age.
Yeah.
So the Earth, so I'm going to play devil's advocate on both sides right now.
Okay.
Because I'm going to attack the people that deny climate change, and I'm also going to attack the people that think that climate change is caused by humans.
The opposite of a devil's advocate.
Angels, something or another. I don't know. I don't know.
Angels defendant?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's interesting. I never thought about that, man. Why?
Sorry.
It's all good. So, climate change is real. That is definitively true. There's too much scientific evidence to suggest that it's not true. The Earth has gone through what? I believe it's 7 ice ages, if I remember correctly. The only way you go through an ice age is by the climate changing.
Mm-hmm.
So by definition, if there was an ice age and there wasn't an ice age, the climate changed. So climate change is real. Stop saying climate change doesn't exist. However,
some would almost say the only thing constant is that the climate changes.
yes,
Yeah.
100%. The issue that I'm having with this, so that's my devil advocate against those who deny climate change. Stop it. You're wrong. But then I got to go to the other ones.
To Angel's defendant, the devil's advocate position on that, I think what they're saying is climate change in the way you're trying to spin it is not real.
That's actually where I'm heading now.
Oh,
No, you're foreshadowing. So I'm sitting there saying, like, quit trying to say climate change doesn't happen, because all you're doing is making yourself appear idiotic.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side,
I'm okay with appearing idiotic. Go ahead.
on the flip side, you're 100% right. They're saying climate change doesn't exist because the flip side is saying climate change it does exist, but only because of man-made issues, and that's wrong as well. Man-made issues are not the leading cause of it, right? Is it a factor? Sure, it is a factor. I don't have an exact percentage, but I can tell you this. The number one input for energy into the planet is the sun.
Come on.
There is no way that granted, men like to think we're great. Humankind like to think we're the most powerful thing ever. I'm sorry, we pale in comparison to the energy the sun puts into our planet. The sun is the largest driving factor of all climate change on the planet.
All of us could fly F-16s to work every single day, and it would pale in comparison to the output of the sun's energy. The sun dictates, first and foremost, what our temperature is going to be. It's a violent exploding ball of gas, and there's fluctuations within the power and the magnitude of the sun within not just the course of a year, but in the course of a particular day, depending on the activity of the sun. So absolutely, the thing that keeps us warm, the thing that dictates what our temperature will be, above all even those other factors that are good that I agree with, the sun's production trumps everything, and it's not even close.
See, it's interesting because they say geological, so that's volcanic events, right?
Sure.
Stuff like that. Yes, a single volcanic eruption. I want to say it was the Pompeii event, if I remember correctly. They actually they started doing testing of the soil and everything, and how much carbon was put out during that single event. That single event ejected more carbon into the atmosphere than all of since man has started doing the industrial age. Yet supposedly we're the number one cause. It makes no sense, right? And this is using science, which is what they're trying to say is, look at the science. The science says 97% of scientists agree.
Yeah.
No. If they do agree, they're idiots.
Yeah. And again, consensus does not mean factual truth.
According to the left, consensus is all that matters.
Well,
Consensus
as long
on the experts.
as long as it agrees with their opinion.
Yeah. Biological is another really big one as well. Plankton blooms in the ocean will cause more of a significant change in climate in what happens than anything a man will do. And when I say men, I'm talking about humankind. Quit trying to say I'm sexist. Not. Stop it. I know you are. Geographic factors. So that's actually an interesting one because what absorbs more heat? What color? Black.
Yeah.
What reflects more heat? White. So when you go into ice ages, you are colder because you're giving off a lot more. You're reflecting a lot more back out.
Well, again, with geographic, where am I located? If I'm close to the equator, I'm probably getting a more consistent output of climate versus if I'm living at the opposite ends,
Yep.
away from the equator, I'm going to have more extreme seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting because if they would have stopped basically right there at the end of the list of the climate change caused by natural and human factors, natural factors include, if they would have deleted and human factors, because human factors are insignificant.
Yeah.
Are there factors? Sure, but they're so insignificant it's not even worth pointing out.
Well,
The only reason you point it out is because that's the issue that they're focusing on. And it's not because they're caring about they're using that as a way to control the populace, right? What I find interesting, what I absolutely find interesting, and don't take me wrong because I like Tesla. I think Tesla's an excellent idea. Having multiple sources of power is great. I'm a fan of, I live in Idaho. What, 95% of it is hydropower in Idaho. And then we have a crap ton of windmills. We have some solar farms. I think we have one nuclear reactor up towards the Ontario border or the Oregon border. ArKo. Really?
ArKo was one of the first place in America that tapped nuclear energy.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of geothermal too. But I don't think we have a single coal-fired plant in Idaho. I don't think so. We might. I very well could be wrong on that. But Idaho, if we do, it's so low that we don't even know. So I'm not sitting here saying that fossil fuels are the end-all be-all. What I'm saying is having multiple facets of energy is great for humankind because humans rely on energy. The problem I have with this is they're wanting to switch everyone off of fossil fuels, and there's some areas that are reliant on it.
Wait, hold on now. We're switching off of fossil fuels?
There's a lot of push.
Okay, but what are we switching from? Gas-powered cars to what?
Battery.
Powered cars? And how do we get electricity?
Coal-fired plants in a lot of instances.
Fossil fuels?
Yep. A lot of times, right? But there's another facet of this that I really want to drive into. Rare earth.
What I'm getting at is we're saying, well, let's get off of fossil fuels to go to electricity, which burns fossil. Well, the electricity comes out of the wall.
Where does that come from?
Where do you think that comes from?
Yeah.
Yes, we're still, at the end of the day, we're trading one way to burn fossil fuels versus another, and we're doing it under the guise of, well, this is a good way to burn fossil fuels, and this one isn't. It's like either way, you're still expending.
Well, no, because there's also a push to shut down coal-fired plants or oil-fired plants, right? They're wanting to even get off of that.
Sure.
Eventually, they can't do it right away because they still need it in order to power the grids.
Right.
Idaho, we're in a special situation. We have a lot of geothermal. We have a lot of water. We have a lot of wind. Ed, calm down. But the other aspect of electrical vehicles that I have an issue with and that I think people don't really pay attention to, what does it take to make a battery for those cars? Rare earth elements. Where do those rare earth elements come from? Typically, they're coming from Africa or they're coming from China, Indonesia, stuff like that.
They come on the boats and they come from shipping containers
Mm-hmm.
and then they make their way here.
Yep.
And then
But how do they get out of the earth?
Hey. Again, electricity comes from the walls, okay?
And it goes to this thing that came from a boat.
And then batteries come from shipping containers and they bring them over here. Those are the two origins, and they're not fossil fuels, and you just need to remember that. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Gosh, this guy's so unenvironmental.
I know, right?
Go on.
It's like I don't care that, in order to get the rare earth elements out of the ground.
Because compassion matters more than where these things are actually coming from.
Oh,
and I'm full of compassion.
I'm just wanting to protect the environment. Having to destroy entire freaking areas in order to strip mine the land to get these materials out. Yeah,
That's racist.
I know, right?
Sorry.
I guess I am. I care about other people, and I care about what they're doing to what we're doing to their land and in their yeah. I know. So this is where I want to tie in the conspiracy of the climate change, because climate change, obviously, we both are sitting here agreeing that climates do change. They change over time. It happens. Um, where the
And again,
conspiracy
in that list that we looked at of all the things on Britannica's website, guess what? Not one of them was solar. Not one of them was the sun.
well, I would actually classify the chemical that right there, because it's a chemical reaction. What's going?
Right, but they could mean anything by chemical.
That's true.
They could mean like the chemical reaction in the atmosphere. But again, when they said, "Hey, natural factors include those things," in the natural factors, they don't bring up the burning ball.
Which is interesting because that
Yeah.
is the largest input of energy
Yeah.
into the planet.
Anyway, go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to deep.
What? No, but you're also one other item that they don't bring up that is actually should be on here as well is astronomical events,
Sure.
such as comets striking the planet, right? Meteors landing.
Right.
I mean, how? If I remember correctly, I think 3 of the 7 ice ages are tied directly to the fallout after a comet hit the planet. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. It might be 4 out of the 7. But yeah, outside influences into the Earth are definitely definitely more of a catastrophic climate change events than humans. Is the Earth getting warmer? We're coming out of an ice age, guys. We're still on it. We're at the end of the last ice age. I mean, until we start going back into an ice age, we're going to be continuing warming. That's just the way it works.
But here's the thing for me. In the 70s, in the 60s and 70s, we were warned, "Oh no, be careful, the earth is going to freeze and we have this ice age coming, this new ice age, and the temperatures are going to drastically drop, and it's because we're so terrible as humans." And that was the push in the 60s and 70s, and then they took a break from that for a few years, and then all of a sudden they started watching temperatures start to rise. So what did they do? And this was over a 20-year span. They're watching temperatures drop, and then they see temperatures start to rise, and then they're like,
Global warming.
it's not an ice age, it's global warming, and so that's what we have to be careful of. And then we had a period where the temperatures went back down because Al Gore made his hilarious documentary that is completely proven false, because every date that he said we'd be dead by has come and gone, and we're all still here.
Yep.
Anyway, but again, we had some temperature drops in that period, and they go, well, and then the people who were against the climate change being 100% man-made said, okay, you said the temperature was dropping, and then you said it was rising, and then you said it was dropping, and well, it's climate change. It's not global warming, it's climate change, and when you have global warming, it'll change the climate both ways, and it'll be terrible winters and terrible summers and terrible everything, and it's like, yeah, that still isn't what we experience. Like, we have years where it's colder, we have years where it's warmer. We've had some harsh winters, we've had some harsh summers. This summer was kind of light in comparison with the last 2.
Yep.
But that's where I go back to, okay, so no matter what, your theory is now, you're unable to disprove it. It's completely bulletproof because you just wrap everything up into this blanket statement of climate change. And look, I will agree with you. The climate is changing from year to year, from season to season, from event to event. But there are different ebbs and flows in climate every few years.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the climate is changing. I 100% agree with you. But if you're going to look me in the face and go, it's because you're driving the car you are,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to need some data to show that.
Yep.
And here's the thing. We probably are outputting, as America, we're probably outputting less now than we ever have before. I think the damage that we did in the Industrial Revolution far outweighs what we're doing now. And so that's where I go back to, who's the biggest outsourcer of pollution and chemicals? It's China, and they don't care.
No.
They're in the midst of their industrial and technological revolution at the same time. And so they're the biggest outputter. And so what are we going to do? Cry about it? Go ahead and tell China what you think of climate change. They don't care.
So you brought up something. You said we're probably at the lowest that we've ever been.
Yeah.
So guess when that trend started?
When's that?
Under President Donald Trump, who was supposedly a climate change denier. And he was the one that pulled us out of the Paris climate change accords or whatever. Which is interesting that under his presidency or during his presidency, and it wasn't like at the start of his presidency, he was like a year and a half into it after some of the regulations and red tape that got rid of some of the whatnot. And also with the increase of fracking, because fracking became a lot more clean, more environmentally friendly. Just random information for you, just throwing it out there.
Hey, look.
But this is why it's a conspiracy. Like, this is where the conspiracy starts to tie in.
Humans outputting energy is why we are where we are, which is why everybody who went to the Paris Climate Accords flew there in private jets.
Oh, yeah,
and
on the G5s.
And told us how terrible we were because we drive a car, which in 10 years of me driving a car could not output in a year what a jet does.
Yep.
So,
but you are the carbon they want to tax. Have you ever heard that saying?
No.
So you've heard about how they want to implement carbon taxes, right? I can't remember who said it, who coined it or whatnot. But the funniest thing I ever heard was when someone says, well, you are the carbon they want to tax. And I'm just like, fucking you're right, dude. That's what they want to do. They want to kill you. They want to starve you to death. They want to take away your livelihood and just make, I was like, yeah, that's a good one. So have you ever seen The Day After Tomorrow?
Which one was that? I've
It's
seen some of them.
Dennis Quaid was the dad, and the dude from Brokeback Mountain was the son. I can't remember his name.
Sorry. No, I don't.
And Maggie something or another was the love interest. Oh, that's right, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
It was Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie, I think, is his wife, but I think that was made before they were married or something like that, or maybe they were. I don't remember.
Is they brother sister?
No, because doesn't Jake have a brother?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Whatever. I'm not into huge pop culture.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the one.
I don't remember. I think I may have seen it, but I can guarantee you I did see South Park's The Day After Tomorrow. I know I saw that one where they had blankets and they're like, Stan, I'm gonna need some chicken noodle soup, Stan. Anyway, sorry.
South Park, man.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in The Day After Tomorrow, I'll just give you a quick recap. Dennis Quaid is playing some not a climatologist. He's an oceanographer.
That sounds right.
Right. So it starts off with him drilling for ice core samples.
Okay.
And then part of the shelf just breaks off. The whole damn shelf's breaking off, they say. And he starts predicting like prehistoric climate changes. As the climate changes. And then some I can't remember the dude's name, but he's over in England, and they're doing watching like the buoys, the temperature buoys in the North Atlantic and everything, and they start failing. They start putting things together, and just like they finally touch base. This guy finally reaches out to Dennis Quaid, and he's just like, "Well, your model's the only thing that can predict what's happening." He's like, "It's not a model; it's showing what happened in the past." And they're just like, "Well, it's the only thing that can show us how it's going to happen." Anyway, basically, the premise is the sun has been heating up the Earth. The Earth getting warmer is causing the ice caps to melt. All that fresh water going into the ocean is creating disturbance in the salt content, which is creating an issue with the weather patterns. And it basically creates 3 massive hurricanes over land, which drops within a matter of like a week, just basically creates another ice age. And I'm sitting here, I'm just like, that's actually feasible. That actually is feasible. That's more feasible than someone burning gasoline in a car causing it.
Although I do love I love analogy of what happens when ice breaks off into the ocean. Yeah, it just kind of stays at the same level. Like when you have ice that melts within your cup.
Yeah, your cup doesn't get more full.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, if you have it full of ice and water and it's to the tippy top and it all melts, it's still at the tippy top. Yeah. It doesn't overflow. It's little things like that where I'm like, yeah, it's this weird thing that I think God put in motion to where whether water is a solid or a liquid, it has the same fills the same volume in space, and so you're not going to have.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that it's not the ice that's in the water that's the issue,
right.
It's the ice that's on the land that's the issue.
Right.
That will cause, because it's not because that's not going to have the equal buoyancy displacement.
Yeah, but everything that I have seen is the cause of it is all these glaciers that are already floating, melting, and that's the.
Oh yeah. If the glacier's already in the water level's not going to rise.
Yeah, exactly.
But if the glacier is on land, which I think there's quite a few in North America and in Greenland, there are still quite a few.
But if they melt, are they necessarily all going to the ocean, and are they melting at such a fast pace that they're going to overflow the ocean? And I just unless it's going to completely run off in one whole chunk, and even then, isn't that just going to kind of be a drop in the bucket for the ocean?
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. So, you ever heard of the Bimini Road down by Jamaica? I think it's or Bimini. I don't know. The Bimini Road basically is what appears to be. I guess there's contention around it of what it was. There is a hypothesis that the Bimini Road was actually a paved roadway going down into a harbor, but it's under like 25 feet of water. But even biblical texts, not even just the Bible, the Quran, all these ancient religions actually talk about the Great Flood. And what part of the thing that's on the Great Flood, ocean levels do change, right? So the Mediterranean Sea did not used to exist. There used what is that called? The Strait of Gibraltar is the inlet to the Mediterranean Sea, if I remember right. That used to be a complete landmass that isolated a plain from the ocean.
Right.
And then a geological event happened, and it caused part of it, the strait, to form, and it came in rushing into the plain.
Well, and again, it's okay. Well,
which dropped the ocean level.
Is this all at the same time, or is this the culmination of several decades of change?
What I'm saying is there.
It goes back to evolution versus adaptation.
Yeah.
Have we seen things happen over time? Yeah. Is there these cataclysmic things that we see that necessarily are going to be the result of man-made? I run my car and I have a truck and I like to have the exhaust spit out the top. Is that going to be what causes all this stuff to happen? Look, if Antarctica melts, yeah, we've got a real argument here. If the North Pole completely melts, but we're talking about some, not just weather-wise, we're talking about the magnetic poles. Like, we're talking huge changes within the world. But barring cataclysmic events like that, it's hard to be able to predict. Hey, this thing's gonna make the whole East Coast disappear.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd be less concerned with the North Pole melting.
Yeah.
Because it's already floating. Antarctica, however, is on top of landmass. If Antarctica melts, then I'd be a little bit more concerned.
Are you forgetting?
What?
The ice wall, dude.
What ice wall, dude?
Conspiracy?
Oh.
There is no Antarctica.
Yeah, that's... Oh my god, yeah, I can't believe I forgot that.
So with the giant ice wall, I think we'll be fine because the giant ice wall will protect us from
falling off the edge of the disc.
Absolutely.
I can't believe I forgot that, man. Oh, that's hilarious.
Sorry, I'm tying multiple conspiracies here together.
Yeah.
And JFK did 9/11. Go ahead.
Yes. Came back from the grave, like Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
Who's living in?
Elvis is still alive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, I forgot where I was going with this.
Go ahead.
So I don't disagree with you. It is more logical that a cataclysmic event happens, such as an earthquake, which causes the ocean level to drop because now it's flooding the Mediterranean Sea, or ice age melts, all the water's kept captured up on top of land masses in the form of ice over a period of years, starts melting, water starts rising. Civilizations that were living in the lower plains get flooded out. It happens, but it's not like these
And yeah, I think therein lies, going back to what we started, the conspiracy of, oh my gosh, if we don't change everything that we do as humans, everything's gonna die and everything's gonna.
No.
And that's where it's like, okay, let's get back to what can we prove, what's happening, what's scientific. The thought that we can scare people into thinking if you drive your car 10 more times a year, you're going to cause the entire West Coast to fall into the ocean. And that's what the problem with
that's the
climate
San
change-
Andreas, isn't it?
What's that?
Isn't that the San Andreas? That's the reason the West Coast is going to fall off?
I don't know whose fault it is, but ultimately. But again, I go back to the bigger picture here is if you believe that because humans are driving more cars now than ever before, that it's going to lead to these cataclysmic changes that are going to kill everybody in certain regions, you're believing in a conspiracy that's completely unfounded and it's completely unproven. And just as much as those people want to make fun of the flat earthers, just as much as those people want to make fun of well, we didn't land on the moon, and just as much as those people want to make fun of oh, you're anti-vaccine, it's like, yeah, you're believing something and you're getting carried away with, oh my gosh, the whole world's going to end because I have a Jeep. No, that's not why everything's going to end. If everything does end, trust me, we're going to have a very minor part to play in it. And ultimately, we as humans, I think we just have too high of an opinion of ourselves. I think we need to humble ourselves a little bit and go, yeah, you know what? This ball's been spinning for a while before I lived, and it's going to continue spinning for a while after I die, and that's okay. Ultimately, the sky is falling narrative. How dare you, as Greta Thunberg would say, and all of the clips and literally the fear mongering of Al Gore's entire 2-part documentary, which we've outlived every prediction he had.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But he was saying, like, if we don't change everything, the Earth will die. And it's like, no, we're still fine. And that's where, if you believe in that, you're a flat earther. You mock them, you're in the same category as them.
We've outlived every prediction since like the 1940s.
Yes.
So it's not just Al Gore.
And
We've been outliving predictions from scientists of these people trying to create fear and chaos in order to control the public. Since like the 1940s. We've outlived them all.
Yeah.
We're going to outlive AOC's prediction.
Yeah, absolutely. And Greta Thunberg and everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what
I was going to ask you, though, what if I drive a Hummer instead of a Jeep?
Dude, sweet.
Oh, my God. Yeah, so
I want to bring back the H2.
I thought it was making a comeback.
Well, but they're making it lame.
Are they?
Yeah,
I haven't looked too much into it.
They're not bringing back the real H2. That thing was a beast.
That thing was a beast. I remember driving one when they first came out. I liked it. Granted, I was also like military, so I got to drive real Humvees, and those are much more fun. They just don't go as fast, and they ride like shit. I mean, they are uncomfortable.
Well, that's why you get the modified, the street legal one.
Yeah. Where the brakes are actually on the wheels instead of the center of the freaking axle.
Yeah.
So when you slam on the brakes, you don't throw the axles and your wheels go flying.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
The military might be coming after me. The CIA or FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that was classified information I just shared, that our wheels will fall off if we slam on the brakes. I'm pretty sure everyone already knows that.
Yeah. Well, again, speaking of riding till the wheels fall off, I think we'll be fine here as a world to continue to live the way we are and to just kind of get by and do the things. Look, if you want to do things to help the environment and save the planet, more power to you. You like
100%.
recycling, take care of the planet. We've only got one. I
Mm-hmm.
get it. Just like our bodies, take care of your body,
Mm-hmm.
take care of the planet, impact where you can, help out where you can.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, this terror of, oh my gosh, if I don't do something, everyone's gonna die. Like, okay, Smokey told you that you're the only one that can prevent forest fires. Yeah, don't be a jerk and flick a cigarette into the woods. But ultimately, no, you can't prevent every forest fire because there's always going to be some other jackwagon that's going to light the forest on fire.
Lightning.
Or lightning strikes. You know.
Power lines fail.
Yeah, you can't. It turns out you can't prevent forest fires. So
you can only do your prevention on it.
Exactly, and that's the bigger picture. Is this what is it? The psychosis of what the global warming movement or the climate change movement has turned into. It's a disservice to the human intellect. It's
also a disservice to the Earth.
Yeah.
Because I think we covered this before. Have you ever seen pictures of the post protect the planet events that happen, or the post protest the climate change, like the oil things?
Right.
Have you ever seen how they leave it?
Yeah.
So destructive.
Right.
But you also let's talk cities real quick. I think a lot of people that believe in this climate change stuff live in cities. They live in these smogs. They live in these dense areas. They don't realize that the people that they're trying to control, the farmers, the truckers, the people like rural people, don't have the same issues they have. And the reason they have the issues is because they're packed so tightly on top of each other. It might be true for you because you see the smog every day, but it's not true everywhere in the world. Right. Most places in the world actually care for the environment. Like there's the loggers up in Canada and stuff like that. One of the most important things they do after they're done logging, replanting. It's one of their biggest passions, to the point where, like, I don't understand how, like, you can sit there and say, like, oh, they can't harvest this wood that there's needed for construction, needed to create homes, to keep people warm, to keep people alive, because you think that they don't care about the environment. They care so much about it, they actually take the time to make sure that everything they do is replanted, so that way future generations can enjoy the forest and survive off of that resource that they were re-putting in the ground.
Yeah. Well, and again, I go back. Well, let's only use clean energy like wind power. Okay, cool. That's great. Hey, also, I saw a video of several of those wind turbines catching on fire.
Yep.
So how does that happen? Oh, well, again, guess what? In the production of those things, guess what? There's fossil fuels. And guess what? I've seen along the freeway this year about 10 different times. I have seen them hauling these huge pieces of metal just for one fan blade. It's about the length of six semi-tractor trailers long, and that is what they're using. Guess how much gas they're using to haul these things along the highways and the freeways? That's just for one propeller on one of these wind turbines.
You're forgetting about the pilot cars.
Yeah.
You're not even including those.
No.
You were just talking that one truck.
Just the one truck. And again, it goes back to even within the turbine itself, there is
oils,
fuels working within it to keep it wheeled,
lubricated
and all that. And it's just, look, there's no getting around this. We are going to be expending fossil fuels no matter what we do. And
you know what?
Well, solar. Okay, great. How many acres are we taking out with solar farms?
Hold on.
It takes so much energy. It takes so much land mass in order to make one of those fully effective. And I go back to, okay, I'm okay with alternate forms of energy, but ultimately, are any of these forms of energy going to save our planet? No, not yet.
Not yet. No. Nuclear could.
But
which is interesting that the climate change people are also against nuclear, even though nuclear is actually the cleanest form of energy to exist.
But
that is actually cost effective.
It could down the line if it ever fails. And look, I do understand that, but ultimately we have one example in the world of that happening.
Chernobyl.
Oh no, two.
3 Mile Island.
So we have two. And look, I get it. We should be very careful with what we do, but ultimately,
I know how to fix this.
Yeah.
Sorry. You just made me think of something. Go ahead, finish your thought.
No. That was it.
I'm sorry, it just popped in my head. You know how we can stop having this climate change crap happening and trying to force it? I'll tell you a reason. Most in America, most Democrats are women. Women vote Democrat, right? If you're Democrat, you're more likely thinking that climate change is caused by humans and that we need to end fossil fuel production. I'm going to fix and get them to start voting Republican right now. All makeup is based from petroleum. If you guys never want to wear makeup again, let's ban it.
Hey, here's the thing. There's some women out there who are naturally beautiful, and you know who you are. And if you're single, hi.
Get at me.
But it's funny. There are so many women who are able to change the way they look with makeup.
Oh my God, yeah, it's insane.
There's a girl that I worked with in South Carolina. I'd say she was an 8. She was beautiful. I was like, man, that girl is really cute. She had a boyfriend. She ended up getting married to the guy, and then he posted a picture of them right after they had done some stuff and gone swimming, and he posted a picture of her face. And I got to tell you, this woman is a mastermind of makeup, because this girl that I thought for years was an 8, I saw her out of her makeup and I went, oh my word. Like, she was probably like a 3 or a 4 face-wise, but she was able to conceal a lot of that with her makeup. Now, still, one of the sweetest people I've ever met, so not going to say anything that way. Like, you know, that there's no bearing on that, but it's like, man, some of the things that women are able to do with makeup, I think you may have converted quite a few women over to the Republican side with that perspective alone.
Yeah.
So,
Let's get the message out there. I'm getting tired. I just totally railed that. It's all good.
But yeah, no, that's, again, what are those, just as much as, well, what is my makeup going to do? Okay, well, what's your car going to do? Okay, well, what's your boat going to do? What's a helicopter going to do? What's a plane going to do? Like, all these, what's a factory going to do? All these things contribute.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, none of us are getting out of this without doing some sort of an impact to the environment. Now, what is it? Is it a drop in the bucket?
Those drops add up. Sure.
Yeah.
You could make that argument.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, those drops are not going to make up a large enough portion to overcome the power the sun's putting in,
Right.
or a comet hitting the ground, or something like that.
Well,
but the other aspect of this,
and we could do everything right, and the sun could explode tomorrow. And there's, oh, good job.
Yeah.
Like, good job conserving the planet. Now the sun just decided it was going to send out a
massive
radiation.
massive prone ejection or something like that that
Yeah.
Earth's right in the path for. I mean, we're toast anyway. So the other thing I was going to say on this is, damn it, I lost my train of thought now.
Sorry.
You're good.
What we can do.
Oh, sorry. Tying this back into the conspiracy. The conspiracy is whether or not humans are the main cause for it. I think at this point in time, we don't have to call it a psychosis or anything. I think it is a conspiracy that there is a group of powerful individuals that are trying to control how how the economies of the world are working in order to control your lives. I don't necessarily know if it's a conspiracy technically, because it's kind of factually based right now. But, you know, sorry, I had another thought and I lost it again. Dang it. Sorry.
And here's maybe where we can leave it. I'll say this. If you're struggling with self-confidence, just know that this earth is a hotter place because you live on it.
Damn, that was deep. Thank you guys for tuning in. Till next time.